All right, just gonna go for Saturday in the same split. I figured I might need some more, but I remembered something. uh, so Friday is what Saturday is to them, is what Sunday is to them. So Thursday night, basically, I went with the guy who owns the place, and we went to play poker with his friends. We did a mini tournament. I came out for first place. Uh, it was fun because I went with $200 and I came back with about 450. Super fucking fun, man. I'm not gonna lie. But to the point at hand, day three, it was a Friday, and Friday's a holiday. So I woke up and I called the guy to kind of like update him on my vibe, and now I have some reference points to talk to him about. I'm talking about the original stakeholder. So we spent 4 hours of the day with him. Keep in mind, I had lunch with him almost every day, and very much so, it was not. Like as much as I tried to talk to him, he really just like it seems like he was exhausted with everything. Like everything was just new to him, and his mind was all over the place. And his daughter was having a baby and all that stuff. So it's just like a lot of stuff was happening in his head. But naturally, I don't care. I don't get to spend much time with him, so I'm like, you got me here. I'm gonna like pick your brain, empty it, or just basically tell you what I'm thinking of, and you tell me if it's a yes or a no from your side. Well, anyways, given my vibe, I took him for coffee and we sat together. We had like a bit of breakfast and we discussed a few things. Uh, part of them was just we need to like I wanted to know how much money he's willing to pay. I wanted to know what kind of funding we were working with. I wanted to know what he's willing to change because he kind of made a lot of decisions that now need to be adjusted, and it's an emotional thing. A lot of people do not really understand. Like a lot of people will tell you okay to spending a whole lot of money because the value of money is how much you make it. But if it's a decision you actually made at one point, letting go of it is a lot harder. So that's his baby we're fucking with, right? Like in the whole company, the factory, and the brands that we're working with are something that kind of came into creation because he put a lot of time and effort and energy into it. So I kept trying to kind of like have him tell me what he wants to do and then start taking from there where I would want to go with it and all this stuff. It was a bit challenging because I did that every day and we had lunch every day and we spent at least an hour or two in the afternoons together before like each and one of us kind of like did their own thing. I tried not to incorporate myself with his life, but the way these things happen here, it's not like he got me a hotel room or something. There's an extra room in his house, welcome. And basically, as much as we can chill, we chill. Most of my discussions were just about like what I'm there to do. Well, he just wanted to get to know me better, wanted to see what kind of person I am, and all the good stuff. So, anyways, um, that day we ran around the mall, and I just like kind of like did some stuff. A couple of days earlier, I had met a young girl who was working a part-time job selling like deodorants and shit like this, car car scented shit stuff. You know that stuff that you put in a car that gives it a better good scent. Horrible stuff, by the way. Just like I don't understand it. I'd rather my car smell like shit or just clean it. But for them, I think because of the heat, like they want that, or that's a culture they have. But anyway, so I kept like I introduced him to her on the pretense of she's an artist, and I figured, man, because he wanted to do a certain, he wanted to like do the advertisement in a more animated way, and he wanted to build on top of the whole artistic vibe of storytelling in order for people to engage with it more, which I think is brilliant. Like I'm an anime fan, right? Like I'm a guy that's read over like 400 mangas in his life, and some of them are over a decent, like 700 chapters. Like, I love this shit. So I vibed with this girl because like I basically like spoke to her for a bit while doing research and seeing how they sell. I literally like went around the whole mall that the first day I went with the guys and I just asked questions to see. And my approach was simple, like find the shops that are selling like detergents and ask them if they have any idea if the water quality affects this detergent or not. And the same thing when it comes to like makeup and stuff like this. And I'd ask them if I actually like, do you have a cream, but the water that I have in the house is not really very good, and wanted to see if people actually had a clue. Only one person knew what she was talking about, but she knew the product. She didn't know what I was trying to say, because for them, water is not a thing. There's either water or not. In any form, shape it comes, they don't care as long as it's there. And mostly cover it up with makeup. But so I remember that day we discussed a lot about how he would want to see things and how brief his experience with these things are, and how I would want to kind of like express how I would be able to express the the brand through what he wants, and to be able to kind of like calculate the people that I need to interact with, and how I can actually like get this to be a thing where we build on top of it, or where we should small. Just have a team that supports the design process, the branding process, and the promoting process, and everything like this. Because there's stuff in this and what I'm doing with them that I have to do on ground with the people there, but there's also the me that has to like go on Facebook and like do the marketing, create the ads. I have to design the ads. I have to design the marketing strategies. I have to check the timelines. I have to understand. I have to collect the data, and I have to check which people are responsive, which aren't, and which people are engaging and which aren't, and all these things. Those are on me. These guys don't know them. One of them knows briefly how to like use Facebook ads, but it's basically just boosting, right? They're not using Meta or Pixel. And when I started this, I took an e-commerce course, which had literally about like 40% of it is just literally Facebook, Pixel, Meta, and everything you can do with the advertisements of that. So that was super fun, and the course. But I had to actually like bring it down to how we are actually going to be able to do this, and to be able to take a budget out of them, and to understand completely, because up till now I haven't talked to him about how much money I would be making. And I told him from the beginning, all I care about was to see this work. And if this works, then I'm not just proving something to myself. I'm actually like looking at my work present itself, and I can use it as a reference. I can do a whole lot in the future. What's the point right now in actually debating charges that are just going to be, I don't know. I figured, man, I told him if it works, me and you will discuss how much money it's worth. And my goal in this negotiation was to be like, no, hey, I increase sales from this to this. So if I charge him based on the growth instead of charging based on the effort do, or like just be like, just give me this much money and I'll do the job for you. And I'm businesses like that, for them to level up, kind of like have a bit of a small. The last thing you want is for him to look at a budget of like 10,000, $15,000 for him to evolve. And imagine like a chunk of it is going towards the guy that's actually doing it. He would rather spend all that money on advertising. And a lot of times they might actually like go that course and be like, you know what, I'm just gonna risk it and spend money on advertising, or just keep doing what I'm doing and learn from it, instead of like getting a guy that has a different approach. Because technically I'm not really a professional at this, but like this is my experience over the past 12 years. Businesses. And over the past 2 years, I've been like just engaging with all different sides of business. And don't forget, next month I'm actually like doing a business analysis course accreditation. All of this only matters because I'm studying stuff, and I'm learning stuff, and I'm adding more to my repertoire slash arsenal. That's the way I look at it, right? But effectively, I have to create something in the real world to present it. But it was a good day with a whole lot of like random details and a true understanding of culture over there, because it seemed to be a more male dominant society, and most of the female workers are just like not really incorporated in the business scene. It's still very much old school, tribalish kind of like approach to things. But it's evolving, and a lot of things are changing and moving, and Like 4 years ago, it was still like restaurants would have like separate places for men and separate places for families. But right now, restaurants are opening to hold both. So that's like a huge step. And it's fun to see because these things actually happen all around the world. There's a whole lot of cultures that are still very much traditional in their approach and slowly changing. So we're going to be at the cusp of the change, and that's something I noticed that day. That right now there's a big move that's happening. We either kind of like position ourselves for the big wave and ride it properly, or small, or just allow it to pass by, or maybe even be a part of the strength of this wave and the movement and like of the evolution.